We're live.
3.6.
All right.
That's pretty good.
All right. The meeting will now come to order. Roll call, Mr. Probst.
Here.
Mrs. Burnett.
Here.
Mr. Cowley.
Here.
Mr. Glonick. Mr. Hirsch.
Yep.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
And I am here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Probst tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Man, it's hard to see that.
I appreciate that, Mr. Weber. I appreciate that.
The agenda was posted throughout the district according to school board policy, published as a legal ad in the Superior Telegram, posted on the district webpage. A meeting notice was sent to the connection for publication. Item 3, approval of the October 13th, 2025 agenda. Looking for a motion and a second, please.
We'll make a motion to approve the agenda as stated.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Anybody opposed? Good deal. Item 4, the consent agenda. Item A, September 8th, 2025, meeting minutes, open and executive sessions. Anybody have anything they want to talk about there? We're good. Good. The treasurer's report. Mr. Cowley.
Okay, in the general account on September 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $6,297,071.92 in cash and investments. Receipts since the 1st of October and not included in the September 30 balance are $62,091.49. And the disbursements from tonight's October 13th board meeting total $165,719.79. In the flexible spending account on September 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $28,547.61 in cash and investments. In the health reimbursement account on September 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $7,421.23 in cash and investments. The debt service fund on September 30th, 2025, there was a balance of $675.09 in cash and investments. Detailed report on fund activities included in the financial statements.
Thank you, sir. Item C, payments of invoices. I would trust that everybody went through that. If you had any questions, you reached out to Mr. Fetchelcotter. I would like to say on that, I'm not sure everybody realizes the nuances of the little stuff that it costs to run a district. Now, I don't know how often we buy paper and toilet paper, but there was, what was it, 15 grand
Yes.
in paper, and I know we cut paper a few years ago to try to save stuff. But between that technology, what the cost is of that anymore, it's those. We all talk about. Well, I'm sure we'll probably talk about taxes a little bit, and everybody's going to see what their tax bill is. But some of that stuff that's totally out of our control, those prices continue to go up. I cringe a little bit every month when I see them. So that's just my
That makes two of
observation.
us there, Mr. Lambert. That makes two of us.
All right. Item D, resignations, employment, retirements. Mr. Fetchelcotter.
Happy to report no resignations for the month. In turn, no new employees for the month and no internal transfers. I do want to recognize two people. One is in the room tonight. Mr. Brian Smith has officially put in his letter of retirement. Mr. Smith has been with us for 11 years in the school district of Maple and in total 45 years in the field of education. Now, I'd asked him, he said, you don't have the time to go through all of the different things, but I do want to recognize him for all his efforts, not only for our district, but for education as a whole. So. And then the second one is Miss Amy Mack. Miss Mack has been in our district for 19 years, and both these employees are looking to retire at the end of this school year. So thank you to them both.
All
It's not a
right.
bad gig.
Retirement.
Retirement's not a bad gig.
I did my best to keep it one more
It's tough to compete with.
We haven't approved.
Well, with that being said, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Congratulations to Mr. Smith on his upcoming retirement. And Mrs. Mack. My kids have only had 2 art teachers through elementary school. That's pretty cool. All right, item 5. A request for Mr. Nyhus for him and some FFA students, 6 of them, my understanding, to attend an FFA Mission and Impact Leadership Conference November 13th and 14th in 2025, and the Chula Vista at the Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Boy, that sounds fancy.
Hi, my name is Yan Hill. I'm a senior this year.
And my name is Abigail Anderson, and I'm also a senior this year.
So we are requesting permission to go to a conference called Mission Impact. It is a 2-section conference. It's broken up by age, sophomore and freshman, and junior and senior. The first conference is called Mission. So they freshmen and sophomores go through and they learn basically their mission for high school is to how they can improve the clubs as a whole, and impact is how the juniors and seniors can leave their impact on the club as a whole. It allows us to meet like-minded individuals who share a love for agriculture, FFA, and just learning in general. I think it is a great way for us to spend a couple school days not in school.
Way to call it.
We both went to the first conference, so we were great. We were drastically it drastically changed our view of how we saw FFA and how we can further activities in our club and make FFA better. And now we are trying to go to Impact so that we and possibly up to 9 students will we can learn how to leave our impact before we go. I'll leave off to Abby now.
So we would be leaving November 13th, about noon on Thursday, and we would spend half the day and then the remainder of Friday in Wisconsin Dells. So we're funding this trip, and we are asking for permission to go, basically.
Any questions? I would assume you're going to just take a van or the car or something.
Yeah, yep. So the one change there on the proposal, there would be up to 9. I think on yours it says up to 6. And so we'd have up to 9 students go. We'd be taking the van then down to the Chula Vista, leaving about noon on that Thursday, returning then in the evening of that Friday. And so they would be out of school then the Thursday afternoon, all day Friday.
What is the Chula Vista? Because this says I think your letter that was sent says the Kalahari.
Should be the Chula Vista
The
for
next one is in
FFA.
Kalahari.
The next one?
Yeah.
Well, it tells you
I
what
think
that-
I think there's 3 clubs all going to be in the Dells in this matter of I think a week and a half. So
Okay.
all at different resorts down there, but FFA will be at the Chula Vista.
We can't put FFA and DECA together, did we?
Yeah, be fighting.
Yeah, there's too much internal conflict there.
Got to keep Mrs. Johnson under control. All right. Well, if that being the case, I would. Does anybody have anything you want to say? Ask? No. Motion in a second that I'm looking for.
I'll make a motion to approve the trip.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good deal. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Learn a lot.
Learn a lot.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Make up the wickedness.
All right. Item B, a request from Mrs. Jennifer Rayo. I'm sorry. for her and DECA students up to 9 to attend the DECA Emerging Leaders Conference November 16th, 17th at the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Oh, look at this.
Bringing out the big guns.
Like we can turn it down now.
Hi, we are here representing our DECA chapter. My name is Lauren Rita.
I'm a supervisor of both officers.
We are asking for permission to attend the DECA Emerging Leaders Conference, or ELC, taking place November 16th to the 17th in Wisconsin Dells. This conference is hosted for Wisconsin DECA leaders, and it's an incredible opportunity for our students to build professionalism, create ideas, network, and gain leadership skills.
This conference has 2 days of professional speakers, sessions, and work-based learning. Content connections include but are not limited to the following: leadership workshops, tailored track academies, and motivational speakers.
We are seeking approval for a small group of DECA members, 9 students and 1 advisor, with a school vehicle to attend this educational opportunity in Wisconsin Dells. We will drive down Sunday morning and return Monday evening.
Included in the package received are the conference details. Furthermore, we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. We pay for this conference with the funds that we've already attained from our student organization accounts. The students will be working on their fundraising this month to help offset the costs. The conference itself will be $960 for the 10 people to attend, 9 students and 1 chaperone, or $160 per person. The estimate of the transportation cost would be around $365.82, and that's 546 miles of round trip times 67 cents per mile. And our rooms would be $50 per night per person, which is around $500.
This is an incredible opportunity for our students, and we will hope that you consider our request. Thank you so much for our time, and do you guys have any questions?
Have either of you attended this before?
No.
So, I think the last time we did this was 6 years ago, so it's been a while.
Is there, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm curious to know, do you have any idea who the keynote speaker, you mentioned it's a motivational speaker, or who would that be?
I'm not sure.
No idea? Okay.
But they'll be there.
Oh, yeah, I'm motivated.
And are there 9 people signed up to go?
Yes.
I think it's 8. I think we changed to 8, is that right? Or is it 9 now?
No, it's 9 people now,
9.
including Ms. Frejo is 10. So.
Well, all right. I think I misspoke. I think I made a joke about Mrs. Johnson. That was the next one.
You're just falling apart.
I'm falling apart. Well, if there's no other questions, I would entertain a motion in a second for this.
I'll make a motion to approve the DECA to attend the Emerging Leaders Conference.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Have yourselves a grand time.
Thank
Learn
you so
lots.
much.
Item C, a request from Mrs. Laura Johnson for her and FBLA students, looks like up to 8, to attend the FBLA Fall Leadership Conference November 10th and 11th in Wisconsin Dells.
Hi, my name is Dora Seawald. I'm an officer for FBLA this year. And currently we have over 45 students who signed up to participate in FBLA this year, which is great. There's a lot of underclassmen, which is super exciting for us. Right now we're working to choose our topics for competition, including like business tests, presentations, computer skill testing, and job interviewing. So that's where we're at with our organization right now. And currently there's 8 individuals, including myself, who have expressed interest in attending a fall leadership conference in the Wisconsin Dells on November 10th and 11th. We will leave the morning of the 10th and return the 11th evening. The conference includes an opening session with a keynote speaker, some breakout rooms for us just to learn about leadership and just meet new people who are interested in the same realm of business that we are. And then a closing session, typically another keynote speaker, and just kind of all get together and talk about the conference. And on behalf of the FBLA chapter, I'm requesting for permission for our group to attend this conference.
The letter that was submitted outlines the St. Croix Falls in February. Are those going to be additional requests? Am I reading the wrong one? Currently, there are over 40 students signed up. Great expectations for your regional competition will be in St. Croix Falls.
Oh, no.
State
Yeah,
Leadership Conference.
Oh, yep, okay.
So are we, so you're just at this point asking for what she just asked for, right?
Yes.
November 10 and 11?
Right,
Okay.
right. I think I put the wrong library folder.
It's all right. How do you choose the 8 students?
Just some of us who have expressed interest in furthering our education and leadership skills and just are interested in going to this conference. A lot of us have previous experience with FBLA and like myself are very involved in the club and are always open to finding new realms to explore, conferences to go to.
So I let the first, well, it could have been up to 9, and we did have 9, but then one student has hockey at that time, so she won't be able to attend. So the first 9 that signed up, because with the band, it's 10 people.
Right. Okay.
And we have not been able to go to this for a number of years because it's so far away. So this is the first year in probably 6 or 7 years that it's close enough for us to go to. Otherwise, it's always held down in the Milwaukee area.
Okay.
So
Any additional questions? That's great. Well, then I would entertain a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Steve?
I'll second.
Dan? Then we'll move on. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Have yourself a good time.
After the FFA one, did you real quick look up who the keynote speakers were?
They're not released yet. They're still.
You're safe. You're dodgeable.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Item D, the Start College Now Early College Credit Program for spring of 2026. I would assume this is Mr. Fenn.
It'll
Ms.
start with me,
Kroll.
and then I have our expert in the room, Ms. Kroll, who does this work day in and day out. So this is the, as we talked about, the Start College Now and our early college credit programs. Our students are able to potentially request a few different college classes and or technical school classes through our UWS and Northwood Tech partnerships. You have a list of students that have put in requests, correct, Ms. Kroll? And the criteria that we look at to approve or deny said classes. So we do this every year roughly at this time. I should say roughly at this time. And you're certainly here to ask Ms. Kroll questions if you wish. We try not to refer to any students by name for confidentiality reasons, but we can talk through some of the different options that they may have and or why we would support this.
How many of these classes are actually held on site, physically on site of the college in?
There's a lot of them that are, but of the ones the kids applied for, only one. I think it's the Japanese classes in person. The rest are all online. But there are some kids that will choose to do classes on campus. We had one student last year, but it's more convenient to do an online class. So that's typically what they do, but they could go to campus if they wanted to.
How do you decide approved or declined or denied?
So students can take anything that we don't offer. So we look at what the course description is compared to our course description. And so it's approved or denied based on that. So like, for example, the intro to sociology class doesn't have the same name as our social issues class, but it's the same content.
Okay, thank you.
That's the one question I have is the clarity or expectations of the students. In other words, did they not realize that we offer a sociology class, or like they applied to applied technical math? I mean, I'm sure we have something comparable. I mean,
We actually have that exact class. So
yeah. So that's my question: is like, did they not connect the dots there, or why?
sometimes kids will fill them out without asking questions or without talking to me. If they've turned in an application with nothing on it that could be approved, then I'll call them in and let them know that, as long as they turn it in with enough time for me to do that. Sometimes they're coming in at the very last second on the deadline. But if there's enough time for me to explain to them that it will most likely be denied, ultimately that's your decision if they're approved or denied, but like I can give them a pretty good guess, then I give them a chance to pick something else. Or show them how to pick something else, give them a little explanation.
And if a class is offered here without college credit, are they still not able to take it for college credit? So there's no route to say get intro sociology college credit.
Which is different than it used to be. There used to be a rule that if you took all of what the high school offered, you could take it through the college. And that's no longer the case. So you might see more denied than you have in the past.
Do you know why that was changed?
It's just the program is always evolving, just like anyone who's open enrolled can't do the Start College Now program. They have to do it through their resident school, not the school they attend. That was something that our whole county learned last year, so that's been in practice now, but so you might sometimes get an application from another school. Mr. Fetchel-Cotter, that made sense to him because of how those things are funded, but I don't understand all of them because.
Yeah, so the
But we don't have any open enrolled out kids that applied this year.
I will also share that there's an update in the WASB update related to the Start College Now programming in Wisconsin.
It is.
So that's not a local decision anyway. That's a state
Yeah, it's
decision.
all
Okay.
from the statute, which like can be sometimes, to be honest, clear as mud, but we do our best to sort through all of it. It's very complex.
And we do offer a lot of great opportunities to our students. This is available to them. There is some financial penalties if they do not pass said class. And I believe I don't want to step out of turn, Ms. Kroll, but parents are very aware of that.
You get it after this meeting, kids and parents get a letter stating what they were approved or denied for. And then it clearly states expectations of if you don't successfully complete, meaning you don't pass or you withdraw after the deadline that whatever fees that we've had to pay, they have to pay. So sometimes they might drop within a window where they're only paying a portion of the fee, then we would just charge them what we got charged.
I see there's about 12 students that are involved. Is that normal or is that high, low?
It's hard, it's up and down. I would say it's probably pretty average, but I feel like I have seen an uptick in this because we always let kids know, we send a letter home in their welcome packet, it's in the announcements, but the colleges have been doing a lot of mailings home and advertising too. So that's another way that kids, I think, are getting more interested.
Sure.
I also tell kids it's in their best interest to request 2, 3, 4 classes, but most likely they'll only take one because with scheduling on the college end, if it fills up, the class they want is full, then if it's not listed on their form, they can't take another class. So like this feels like a long list, but we end up really only probably getting billed for one class a kid. But if it's not listed as an option on their application, then they can't take it, so.
So the one that has 5 that were approved here, they will choose one?
Most likely, he might do a few, but most likely it'll be 1 or 2. But it gives them some options, especially if they want to attend on campus, because it's based on their schedule and trying to match that with our schedule can be complicated. So there's more options and there's more flexibility to be able to schedule that.
For these online courses, do they have to have a set time at 11 o'clock, this is your course, or is online where you do it whenever you have free
Online
time?
through college can be 2 different things. It can be a set time, but most of our kids are taking classes that are flexible as long as they complete things by set deadline. Most kids take a study hall and do a class within the study hall. Some don't want to take a study hall and they do it outside of school, depending on how tough the class is and how much time it takes.
And I think that's been a bigger change too. There's a lot more online learning options than there was even 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's a sign of the times where historically students were making the drives to these campuses, walking through the doors.
And they're limited to these 2 schools. They don't have an option of going outside that.
Not necessarily, but the way the programs are set up, they're set up for high schools to work with their home schools, so we did have a student apply once to another college and they really recommended that they stay within their home school. So if they needed something within our area that represents our area, I guess is a better way of saying it, than their home school. That's what's recommended.
And it's likely those credits would transfer if they chose to go to a different school.
I can say
Thank you
though,
for-
from when I first got
thank
on
you
the
for
board to
helping
now,
these kids
that
with
list has
this.
grown substantially.
I think it's great value.
Yeah.
That's good.
And there is a funding source for it. We do use some federal dollars to get that. Those dollars continue to shrink.
Surprise.
So, we want to continue to do this. We'll find a way to continue to do it. It's an important opportunity for our students, we believe. It opens up some doors that maybe don't always get opened up.
I'm assuming we need a motion to approve these, and I'll make that motion.
A second.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Thank you for that. Item E, early literacy remediation plan, the second read.
So I've got the document that is now a requirement under the legislation of Act 20. So with that, it's something that we had to bring forward, and as I shared last month, it's something that every school district had to do, and I worked through our building leadership team at NES, ran it by them, kind of their thoughts after I used the WASD and OSA templates, and then ran it past Ms. Paulus over at Iron River and brought it to you guys. So I was wondering if there's any questions for tonight.
There's a lot in there.
There's a lot of leisurely reading. So the elevator speech version is, we have really good practices in place. That is a testament to our staff. And when Act 20 legislation came down, it tweaked a little bit about how we assess. It did add some things with how we communicate to families, some of the personalized reading plan. Language did put a little bit more on our teachers' backs. But unfortunately, every school district is in the state is in that same boat. So this paperwork really outlines what was in place in the school district of Maple. I tried not to tweak it to say anything that we weren't already doing. So that's the elevator speech.
I guess,
Yeah.
bottom line up front, what I was trying to understand from this is, since the implementation of this Act 20 program,
Yep.
what, now 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Summer of 23.
Is it too early to know if it's been effective so far?
Can I speak candid? So they moved the goalposts. So what happened with our first assessment, Mrs. Walsh is behind me, might be smirking a little bit. So last year, the assessment that we had to use had a different cut score, if you will, or set of cut scores than it did this year. So it's hard for us to say a little bit of, well, did we improve or did they move the score? You might have read some things.
Normalization of the data is.
So you are hitting the nail on the head. So one of the data geek pieces that I get to do, and I try to share, but nobody else has the excitement that I do, is I kept the system that we use, the old norms and the new norms together. So I can toggle back and forth and look at, well, if we had the same expectation this year that we had last year, how would we fare? Partly because I was expecting that question. And I believe that we are moving the needle. Now, obviously there's a couple layers to that. If you remember in 22, Dr. Coney and I came to you saying we needed to buy a new resource for our reading materials. Part of that was after we looked at state report cards, after we looked at how our kids were doing within our assessment practices and talking to our teachers, we realized that our prior instructional resource didn't really fit our needs anymore. And that was when we went through the process looking at curriculum and the resources. So we bought a new resource. And then on the heels of that first year is when Act 20 hit. So we are, what I'm believing, seeing kind of some compounding factors. One, we have a pandemic that, thank God, we're coming out of that still. But we had that effect. Then we had a new instructional resource, which anytime you retrain teachers and things, you're looking at 2 to 3 years before you really see everybody clicking and jiving, and that's right now. And then we had Act 20 hit and say, hey, you have to use this resource, consider it like a state test for kindergartners. And they have this set of standards, and now we have a different set of standards. So with those 3 factors, I think we're still improving, and we're seeing some better learning with our students as they're coming out of the kindergarten into first grade so far up. But it'll still be a couple of years before we really know what the effect size is. Good question. And I think in December, I get to come and talk about the state report cards. So we'll dig into a little bit of that, and especially at the elementary level, talk about, well, what are we seeing with our populations? Are they growing? Are the needs improving or decreasing? Which I would love to talk about tonight if I can. We got them, so we got a first glance at them last week, but I can publicly talk about, I think, in December. So,
Embargoed.
Yeah. So, good question. Like I said, this particular document is something that all districts had to go through. So luckily, my professional organization, ASA, and WSB kind of came out and said, hey, here's the heavy lifting, and they gave us some templates, which is why you kind of see the bulleted way that it's formulated. So we took what we're doing and just kind of put that in there, which was largely a lot of my work in July. And then Mrs. Fleming, who was our elementary reading teacher, had a hand in it, went through it with me, and kind of looked at, well, how does that align? Like I said, I talked to Heather and the rest of the BLT members on this reflect what we do. And the consensus was, it's a lot of verbiage, but it's required, but yeah, that's what we do.
Sorry. Any additional questions? That being the case, I would ask for a motion to approve the early literacy remediation plan.
I make a motion to approve the early literacy remediation plan.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes.
I appreciate the next step, if anybody's asking. Under the very lengthy statutes, we have to post it, so I'll work with Mr. Hinsman, and then on the 2 elementary pages. Then on the elementary pages on the left-hand side, there's a link that says important documents. So parents are kind of trained, if you will, to go there to get anything about the schools. So that's where we'll link that, so that parents have access to it. Because it's new this year, I will force it out to all the elementary parents, just saying, hey, so you're aware this is a document that drives our reading instruction. If they have any questions, they can schedule time to talk to me or come and see it. We'll take it from there.
Does that include just real straightforward advice to parents regarding how they can handle?
So great question. On the backside, what you guys don't see is the state has worked with, again, my organization to say, here's some template letters. So like on my own children, so I have a 3rd grade daughter, if she happened to be below the 25th percentile in performance, after our first benchmarking, my family would get a letter saying, hey, here's where your child was. If she was anywhere above that, there'd be another letter that says, here's the results. So our teachers do a good job of getting that letter out, and also the test assessment questions, or results, excuse me, and then a chance to ask questions at that level. And then if they're below, it's another set of tests to look at, well, what specifically, diagnostically, are they lacking in? Is it a fluency issue? Is it a decoding of basic words issue? So the format of this document is also how do we diagnose if we go down the path before we ever get to the questions about special ed referrals or anything like that. So you get a series of different letters as a sub-3rd grader.
And I think to piggyback off of Brad too, we do, the Title I department
absolutely
do send out, I'll call them newsletter type flyers, informational things that go to all of our parents, kind of with good quality reading practices, activities that anybody can do no matter where.
Coaching the parents.
Their student roles.
Yeah.
I don't know how frequent they got, but I know I've gotten them over the years, my time here.
I walk that fine line. I don't want to be preachy, but please read with your kid every night.
Yeah.
Try to do some of those things. So our Title I team, Mrs. Bonnelly and Mrs. Fleming, did a fantastic job of communicating. Here's what you could do. And when the student has needs, they work with them very personally. Here's where your child is, here's what we're doing, here's what you can do to help us. And they also organize some annual events every year for reading. They can take team with our PTO on some stuff.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Item F, the 2024-25 budget revisions. Mr. Fetchel.
Yep, this one's me. It is an annual process. This particular document is provided to us by our auditors. It's part of the audit process. That audit is, for the most part, completed. And we will get a very long, fun reading document, about 75 pages in the coming days, that will get shared with our board. We also post it on the financial page of our website as well. But this is basically a summary document of that particular long, drawn out, full audit. So the take-home points is this, what it compares is budgeted numbers to actual numbers. As a general rule of thumb, which is what we want to do from the business side, we want to spend close to or less than what we budgeted, as opposed to close to or over what we budgeted. And for the most part, we did hit those benchmarks. And a few reasons why, the salaries were for the most part very, very close, within $40,000. So some of those are due to decreases in overtime hours and what we call leaves for various reasons, whether it be medical or things of that nature, where we bring subs in if the teacher's gone for an extended period of time. There was a decrease in employee benefits, so fewer employees were essentially not electing to take district benefits. We decreased purchase services or underspent there, which is a result of a lot of different things. Updated service contract, we reduced some transportation costs. We had a fairly mild winter, which helps with utilities. And that decreases there. That's always tough to predict from the business side of things because we don't know what Mother Nature does. The more snow we get, the colder it goes. As for anybody, the more we spend to keep our buildings warm and our parking lots open. But pretty annual process here that we have to do every year. Once the board approves this, it does get posted throughout the district. I'll entertain any questions.
So this is all good news.
I would say it's good news. We're trying to be as fiscally responsible as we possibly can be with the dollars we get to operate, but also ensuring that we're providing opportunities for our students, taking care of our buildings to the best of our abilities within the budget that we have. But yeah, in a perfect world, yes, we want to spend close to what we have revenue-wise, but not be so tight that stuff comes out of left field, things break, stuff happens. So we want to have some kind of landing spot there.
Does that difference in money go back into the general fund, or?
It goes back to our general fund balance, which, for lack of a better term, is our savings account, which we want to continue to work on, and that has, thankfully, in my 3 years doing the business manager job, has turned around, and we're in a better standing, which I'm excited to share. It's important to have that. We've battened down the hatches. Now, part of that is because we've delayed some capital maintenance projects. And, that's what we've had to do, as a lot of school districts have had to do. But you are correct in saying I look at this as good news.
With that, I'm happy with what I see here. I'll move to approve the revised budget.
I'll second it.
It's a roll call because we're talking money. Ms. Schatz?
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch?
Yep.
Mr. Cloud?
Yes.
Mr. Cowley?
Yes.
Mrs. Brunette?
Yes.
Mr. Probst?
Yes.
I vote yes. Right on. Item G, the 25-26 tax levy and budget. Mr. Fetchel.
So this is a continuation of our budget meeting. What I am recommending, or we are recommending as an administrative team, is that we approve the tax levy for the allowable amount as calculated by the 2025 DPI revenue limit worksheet. This is the worksheet that every public school district uses in our state to determine their revenues. So a lot of it is dictated by formulas, enrollment, land value. I'll talk a little bit about this stuff in a little bit here, but for the most part, the receipts and budgets do not change unless the revenue limit increases or decreases. So On October 15th, so within 2 days here, by statute, the state will let us know what our equalized state equalization aid is and our equalized land value. This is not a new topic. I've tried to advertise this as best as I possibly can with our budget mailer, the goldenrod sheet that goes out in September. Talked about it within our budget meeting, and again, I'm hitting it today. I anticipate a reduction of about $1.1 million in state equalization aid. And this is mostly related to two different factors. The increase in the property value within our school district bounds, and that coupled with our declining enrollment. So if I look at predictions right now, so please note I am saying predictions, we'll get this information finalized. I anticipate our equalized value will be north of $1.7 billion. As of 6 years ago, it was half that. And as you've heard me discuss in the past, property taxes and equalization aid account for about 80% of the revenues that we get to run this district day in and day out. Our state legislature with the last budget cycle, so the 2025, 2027 biennium budget, did not put any new monies in the state equalization aid pool. This is the first year in 14 years that they did not do that. So that increase goes on the backs of our taxpayers, unfortunately, because in the very simplest terms, the more equalization aid we get, the lower property tax level is, or property tax levy is, and vice versa. So that will get finalized. I will obviously come back to the board meeting in November with our finalized numbers as to what the local levy will be. I anticipate, because of the cut in state aid, that the property tax bill will fluctuate between 8 to 10% increase. Please understand that that is a projection. That's not a finalized number. And it's important for our community to know that that does not mean that the school district is getting more money. The state historically used to kick in about 60% of the bill, and the taxpayers would kick in about 40% of the bill. We've progressed towards about 50-50. And we're getting closer to about 60% property tax levy, 40% state aid, which is very, very hard because people who don't understand the formula see a tax bill and say, well, mine goes up, so therefore the school district gets more money. That's not how it works. The reality is that we get the same amount of money. It's just that how the soup is being made and how the ingredients are being provided is getting flipped on us. And it's mostly because the land values within our district continue to rise. And we do not have any input in that game, unfortunately. So what this particular motion includes is your permission as a board to allow me to set that levy based off the revenue limit formula to our allowable amount. And once I have that information on the 15th of October, that will start to go into play. We've done it this way for many, many years in the district. The other option is to come back and do a special board meeting, because our next scheduled board meeting is November 10th. I have to have tax levy information to our municipalities by no later than first part of November. I want to say like November 3rd, I believe is the date, but it needs to go out before our regular schedule. So I'm willing to answer any questions around this particular item, but we will continue to get information out to our community once I know that. But this one is not what we want, but some of these factors are not in our control.
But I would say that the 3.65 interest rate is
That's next,
pretty good.
right?
We'll get that one next. Yeah, that's the
That's
short
not
term.
where we're at.
Or I'm
Yeah.
getting ahead of myself.
You are. We'll get to that one next. This again, this item just gives the board permission for me to set the levy to the allowable amount.
Okay.
I make a motion that we let you set the allowable amount for the tax levy budget according to state policy.
I'll second it.
And a second.
Do your thing.
This is also a roll call vote. So, Mr. Probst,
Yes.
Mrs. Brunette,
Yes.
Mr. Cowley,
Yes.
Mr. Glonick,
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch.
Yep.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes. Now, we'll get bids.
Yep.
Item H, a resolution authorizing temporary borrowing in an amount not to exceed $2.21 million pursuant to section 67.128A1 Wisconsin statute. Mr. Fendelheimer.
Another annual process for us. So we do short-term borrowing annually. So this is a continuation of the work that we did in September. The board gave me permission to work with Ellers, who we've used in the past to go up for bid. Again, why we short-term borrow. Revenues come in waves. They do not come consistently month by month. So we have months where we have plenty of revenue and we have months where we don't have enough revenue to pay our bills, pay our staff, which for the most part are pretty consistent from month to month with some variability. So we went out to bid. Happy to report we got 4 bids, which is the most we've ever received in my time doing this. The interest rate at the lowest and the recommendation is for Baird out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to choose them as our short-term borrowing partner. The interest rate is 3.65%. Everybody was in that general range. They were the lowest, the highest being 3.92%. So we would make this short-term borrowing for the 25-26 school year. So essentially we would get this money in the next few weeks. And then we'd pay it back roughly this time next year. And that allows us to make sure that we can fund our shortfalls and pay our bills.
And historically, I believe, hasn't Wendy put that into a high yield type savings account to try to offset the interest rate?
Yeah, we do the best we can and she does an awesome job. And she always dislikes that she's unfortunately not here tonight for some other reasons. But she does a very, very good job of putting that money to work. We put it in our, what we call our LGIP account, local government investment pool. So it allows us to really move money on it functionally on a daily basis. So she does an awesome job of making sure that that money works for the district, works for the taxpayers, and we're getting returns on investment to offset the interest costs. So this number is less than what it was last year. I believe it was about 4.2% last year, 3.65% this year.
On what dollar amount last year, do you remember?
That's another positive. It was just under $2.8 million, if I remember correctly. This year, we're only needing $2.2 million. The goal is to eventually get to a point where we don't have to short-term borrow. That is going to be an ongoing process, but each year that, it indicates the fiscal health of our district if we can continue to try to decrease that number.
Any questions?
What is the percent of schools that short-term borrow, I think?
It's 40 to 50%. Some schools don't have to do it for their fund balance allows them to float enough through the lean months to pay bills. That's our goal eventually is to do it, but
Just curious.
it's a large chunk of school districts. To my knowledge, we've had to do this for 20, 30, 40 plus years here in Maple. We used to do it on a monthly basis, which we do this on one fell swoop. It's more efficient and allows us to have that money work for us as opposed to doing almost like a line of credit with a bank.
Any additional questions? Then I would entertain a motion and a second. You want to get?
I'll make a motion that we short-term borrow $2.2 million from the Baird Company.
2.21.
2.21 million.
Sorry, that's what I was
Glasses.
going to say. We got to make it right.
I'll second it.
The agenda and the board enhancement have
Oh.
different numbers.
Yeah. So which one is it?
I gotta look here real quick. It's 2.2.
So the one is a typo on mine.
Yeah. Do you have that paperwork, Jen, with you?
I do.
I think it's 2.2. Sorry about that, folks. I just want to make sure we got it right. It should be right on the cover page there, I think. Try to pull the
Sorry.
real quick too. Yeah, we got to get it right.
2.2.
There we go.
All right. I apologize.
That's good. Do it
You
again.
do it again, please. Yeah.
Yeah, make a motion that we short-term borrow $2.2 million from the Baird Company.
I'll second it.
Again, money again. So we're going to go around the room. Mr. Probst.
Yes.
Mrs. Brunette.
Yep.
Mr. Cowley.
Yes.
Mr. Lonning.
Yes.
Mr. Hirsch.
Yep.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
I vote yes, motion passes. Don't spend it all in one place.
Thank you very much.
Item 6, the administrative report. We'll start with communications. Mr. Fetchelcotter.
You have your social media report with you. This is the monthly report. We use Schools for You, social media. They do a lot of work to make sure we're pushing out all the good stories that we have. So in total on Facebook, we have over 4,200 followers, and our average monthly reach is roughly 18,700 individuals or individual posts. Instagram is part of that as well, but we try to bring this to the board to make sure they understand what we are trying to share. Our staff do a very good job of trying to take the time, take the pictures, put in the description so our community can kind of understand what our what's happening in our classrooms, what's happening with our extracurricular activities, and have a connection to the district. So that is just there for your viewing pleasure.
Just out of curiosity, who does all our Facebook work, social media stuff?
You can raise your hand, Jen.
Yeah. I manage it, I'm like the administrator, but all of our staff, they have an email address, they send it off to our social media people, which is, what is their name? They go by 2 different names, so I always get confused. It says Social School for EU, so that's one of the names that they go by, but they manage it all. Everything gets sent to them, they post it, and then if they have questions or anything, they let me know, and then I have access to do emergent sort of things. If something needs to get up and it's a weekend, I can do that. But most of it's managed and handled by them.
And anybody could send you something and you might.
Correct. Yep.
Isn't that a multi-year contract that we had signed?
This is year 2 of 3, I believe, if I remember correct. Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that. So we got 1 year, one year contract with them. So it's an important tool. We don't necessarily have a staff member that has the ability to do that in their day-to-day operations. So, and it helps get some of the good positive stories out that we want to continue to get out in connection to people all across the world in some cases.
It certainly gets used.
Can I ask a quick question? Dan pointed out, how accurate do we think this school data is, considering that
I think
Barron
there's
has
typos.
635,000?
I think there's typos.
And then there's a Loyal, another district with an enrollment of 492 that is 200,000?
I think those are typos. They have to be.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I can't speak to that, unfortunately, but
I'm guessing that's a typo, yeah.
It's a pretty good run if that's the case.
I'm gonna say.
I saw that.
Somebody's got a lot of time on the social media front in Barron, if that's.
I know what they're not doing.
Those are some pretty interesting topics there.
Ouch.
So yes, I would tend to agree that that'd be a typo. There might be an extra digit there somewhere. But again, they provide us this information.
Yeah.
We of course look at where we sit as ours. And it's floated around that 15 to 20,000 range. There's some variability for us. Want to continue to see it grow, of course. That's good outreach, in my humble opinion.
Well then, moving on, item B, pupil count for September 19th, 2025, and the open enrollment report. Mr. Fetchelcotter.
Yep. Another standard process. So third Friday count for us happened. This is literally what it says. Third Friday in September, we, in all districts across the state, sit down and essentially count the students that attend. And one would think that's a very, very easy venture, but it is not. There's a lot of variability. We have what's called head count, AK students that are walking through our door. Then we have enrollment and or membership. And that's 2 different factors. So we have our head count, which is kids that are here. And then we add and subtract based off of, are they open enrolled in? Are they open enrolled out? Are they students that are homeschooled but come in for a class or 2, which we do offer and welcome. Our students in pre-K and or 4K are not counted as full FTE because they're not all day, everyday programs. But I want to give kudos to a number of different people because this is not as easy as one would think it is. Mary Misbauer and Barb Evans at elementary school, or Gina Hissa at Iron River Elementary School, Casey Bedoric, Candy Starry at the middle school, and then Aaron Winterston, Tricia Buckmaster, Stacy Pooler, and then of course Jenny here all spend plenty of time to make sure this is accurate. It's one of the most important things we do because the formula works out. The more students you have, the more revenue you get. So we want to make sure that this is very accurate. Comparing this year to last year, it is virtually the same thing. Our total membership for 24-25 last year was 1,217 students. Our head count was 1,261 students. This year, our head count is 1,259 students, and then our membership was 1,215 students. So very close numbers. In a perfect world, we're seeing those grow. We are a far cry from where we were 8-10 years ago. We were in the 14s, but for the most part, our enrollment has planed out. To piggyback off of that, we also look at open enrolled in versus open enrolled out. When I reported on this at our last board meeting, those numbers were, as I'd indicated, very rough. They have adjusted as we expected them to, so that's there for your review as well. The good news is that we have more students coming to us than we have going out, which is what we want. We had an admin meeting today and had conversations around what do we continue to do to try to be attractive to our families that live within the school district of Maples. So good initial conversation. We anticipate more to come on this front as we, for lack of a better term, just try to offer what people are looking for within the realm of possibility. We're not looking to create an online charter school that a student from Superior could enroll into. We're looking at what we might be able to offer to continue to recapture roughly the 120 students, 125 students that are open enrolled out of our district. In a perfect world, we have them all come to us. Some of them are open enrolled for various reasons. We know that it's them on a border and it's both parents work in the Twin Ports area. It's just easier for them. I know a few of those people, and we have nothing bad to say about our district. That's the convenience for them, and I understand that completely. So we'll probably never ever win this game 100%, but we always continue to try to look at what we can do better.
The open enrolled in, what percent, or is it all scattered through kindergarten through seniors, or is it?
Yeah, we have open enrolled in, and we have open enrolled out in every grade level.
Not just more 80% is high schoolers, it's all just
Yeah.
even number.
No, it's
in one of those charts.
It is. So if you look at, and I'll show it to you. So if you look at the open enrolled pupil count document 25-26, the resident additions column, everybody see that one? That is our open enrolled student out population, if that makes sense. So those are the students that, in the 156, the non-resident reductions, those are open enrolled students in. Why they're taken out of the formula and why we add them back in is because they fund open enrollment through a different means. We still count them.
It doesn't have a grade.
Because that's part of the head count, and that's where the membership goes to.
Is there something you're trying to bring to our attention with those highlighters?
Yep, so I want to get to that. We just try to look at numbers. So, our largest class in terms of size, essentially, you'd asked about, I asked, do we see it across all grade levels? The answer is yes. We have some growth in certain areas, 11 5Kers, 14 second graders, and then the resident reductions, those are, the three column there, those are our homeschooled students that come to us for a block a day, a class a day. And we monitor that because we want to, we have had some students that have been homeschooled that come in for a class and then ultimately end up becoming our students. We want to continue to try to offer opportunities for our homeschool communities. There are a number of families that do it. It's been generational, and there's nothing wrong with that choice. But we do try to see if they are wanting to come to us, and then we do get to count them if they, of course, show up as our student.
Have we ever surveyed, or are we able to survey the families open enroll out? Just ask them what they like?
So this is going back, I'm looking to administrative team and trying to when we did that last.
So Dr. Coney was still here, and I can speak to the elementary level only, but I was tested at one point, maybe like 21, 22, and reached out personally to everybody that was enrolling out at the elementary level. Got some feedback on whys, and was it personal choice, was it logistics, looking for something different, so it was all over the place. But certainly a timely conversation.
I think the business manager might talk to the superintendent about doing that again.
Give him a kick in the rear, didn't they? Do we know how many students in the district or families in the district choose to homeschool?
That, we have a number, but that number is variable is maybe the best way to put it. Is that fair to say, Ms. Keller?
Should be pretty.
And what I mean by that is we don't necessarily, we have what's called the Homer system, believe it or not. That's literally what it's called. Which is ironic, maybe a computer program, have fun with that. But parents are supposed to enroll in the Homer system if they have a homeschool student. Now, is there checks and balances? Do we know that if student A that just moved in from wherever now lives in Maple and they're homeschooling, we don't know if that student exists. We ultimately don't know if that parent actually enrolls in. So that's why I talk about a little bit of variability. I don't remember what our homeschool count is. It's a
Currently have
decent-sized pop.
38 families with a total of 77 children.
So it's a decent number, no doubt.
And do we market to them for the opportunities?
Well, that's part of that continued conversation about, is there something we can offer? We do try to make sure, and in my experience, the homeschooled community is a tight-knit community. They do chat, they do talk.
I suppose.
And we have recaptured, is not the right word, but it's the only word I can think of right now. Some of those homeschooled students that have walked through our doors. Typically, it happens when the upper grade levels, the middle school, high school age is when we see that. Not always 100% on that.
Wasn't it a few years ago now, where there was an opportunity for homeschool kids to then start taking advantage of FIA classes, participate in sports? And I don't remember how long ago that was, but it wasn't that long ago.
No,
I mean, 5-7 years
Maybe a little bit
ago,
longer than that. I'm trying to look.
something like that. But when
I think your timeframe is pretty accurate, because we started seeing quite a few at the elementary level.
So when that opportunity happened for homeschool, I think that community, even being tight knit, started going, well, they can we'll participate in this sport. And then, and you're right, I guess families that I know that did that started at the high school level, where somebody participated in a sport. And then it was like, well, maybe they can take this one class, and then, and then next thing you know, all of the kids are participating in school full time. So I think that was a good move from whoever whoever came up with it. But
It's state law, state statute.
yeah. But I mean, it was a good move.
Yeah, it's helped. I don't have the actual count of students that have started in the homeschool ranks and ultimately have come back to us, but we all have examples in our heads of students that we have. So the take-home message is this: our enrollment continues to remain fairly stable from one year to the next, but we're always looking at ways to increase it, because every student matters for us, and it does for every district. So.
Well, I would say next year it's concerning looking at the current size of the senior class and the current size of 4K.
Correct.
The swing that you're going to have there is pretty significant.
Well, I'm just looking at the last, 2 full, kindergarten and first grade, and they're in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's really unusual, or
it's some of the sign of the times that we're seeing. I don't believe historically we've had classes of 110-ish, give or take. Those have slowly faded into classes of roughly 100, that have slowly faded into classes of roughly 90, 80, and now we're starting to see, at least short term here, in the 7s. So you've heard me talk about this in the past. 75% of the districts in the state have been declining enrollment. Maple's no different. We are playing it out, but Mr. Lambert brings up a valid point. From the total count, you look at the classes going out, and you hope to replace them with the same number of the classes coming in. And as you all see on the chart there, that is not certainly the case. which is some of the reason why we've tried to adjust as best as we possibly can with staffing, with living within our means, but
We could
we
hold
talked
back
about
some
this
of
in the
those
past.
seniors.
It's really easy if that happens.
Another year.
Be a little harder. Right?
Start a failing program here, huh? Little retention program.
Brian, we're gonna have the.
You on enrollment, don't you?
Bring them all back. Bring them all back.
You must have a list you want to see.
Bring them all. So this is work that we continue to do and continue to try to adjust and live within our means. But I will tell every board member and any community member that wants to talk to me about this, it's not as simple as, well, you had 100 students, now you have 75, so therefore you should decrease by 25% with your costs, with your layout. It never happens that way because those 25 kids are dispersed amongst all 4 of our buildings. So we're talking about cuts when we're talking about this type of stuff. It costs the same amount of money for the bus to go down the road with 50 kids in it as it does for 15. That's where it becomes tough and difficult to shrink as a school district. Take-home points, enrollment's flat. We always look for ways to continue to increase that no matter what the needs are. So no formal motion, it is just information for the board.
Thank you, sir. Item C, the Fall Regional 1 meeting tomorrow, October 14th at 2025. The landing at Best Western Hotel Shawamigan, 6 o'clock. I don't know who else signed up.
Yeah, I will talk to those after the meeting here just to see if we want to ride together, if we want to be down there, but it's a conversation that we'll figure out logistics once we wrap up this week.
Item D, the district maintenance report. I believe is now Mr. Amos. Do you happen to have, and I don't know if he had in here, I didn't see it. Where are we at with the hot water?
I'm happy to report we have a hot water heater that is working. And by no small. What we have, as you guys have heard me talk about, we don't have any redundancy. We have one hot water heater that serves this entire building. I do not like that because stuff breaks. And the reason why it was down so long for this particular round, it is getting up in age. It's the original to this building. And parts are getting harder and harder to find and longer. It takes longer and longer to get. So we have worked to get it put together. I'm still going to work with providers to see if we can get some kind of redundancy set up and what that may or may not cost. So that's the work that Mr. Amos is doing directly, and then we're having a lot of conversations about that because I don't like being in a boat where if it does break, I know it's going to be at least a few days to get parts, and we can only stock so many things. As of right now, we've been good for the last 4 or 5 days. I can't remember when it came on board. There were 2 very, very happy people: our kitchen and our home ec class.
Which is brought back this year, which,
yes,
right? So hot water.
Yeah.
I do have one question on the report. It mentioned clogged toilets at the high school. Was this because of some stupid activity, or do we know?
There's more to come on that one that we're still trying to troubleshoot. It is a ancillary bathroom that is not one of our main bathrooms, which we're thankful for. But the short answer that I'm getting right now is looking like we have a collapsed pipe, and it's a slab on grade part of the building. And I'm still gathering more information.
I was worried it had to do with that toilet paper issue that was really.
Yeah. Boy, that sounds
You should go to
It does
Cheeks.
not
Real
impact our main student bathrooms. It's
cost.
Were you thinking cheaper toilet paper myself?
You gotta get that Scott's, paper thin, when you gotta use it.
I'll let the board make that determination.
Oh,
Make a
man.
motion.
Sorry, that's a close session discussion.
Need 800
There's
feet.
some stories around that, as some of you have probably been there.
Oh. All right, enough of that.
All right, sorry.
Any other maintenance questions? Good. All right, item E, donations, Mr. Fetchel-Cotter.
We have a series of donations. So we want to thank the following individuals. Lori Anderson donated 8 new winter coats to NES. We're getting to be that time of year, unfortunately. Yeah, it's coming. Kim Sari donated 3 gently used coats and 3 gently used snow pants. And I don't want to speak for Mr. Larrabee, but I believe those are used often when we get to that time of year. Mary Ray Anir donated 10 new blankets to students for students to use and 25 ice pack covers. Texas Roadhouse of Duluth, they donated kids' meals to first graders at NES that met their reading goal for September. Carlson Orthodontists donated to a braces box. I had to ask what that was, so I learned something new, but it definitely helps our students with braces, and we have a number of them. And then Tiger Nutrition had a $5 off coupon to students who met their reading goal in October. Over at Iron River, Dan Perel, $50 for the IRES Angel Fund, and Hannah Nelson donated tissues and cleaning wipes over there, so we thank her and them. NMS, Carlson Orthodontics, braces box, and then Rachel and Jason Dethridge donated flowers for the front office. At NHS, Classics by the Lake donated $500 to Tiger Manufacturing, and the Young Athletes Foundation donated 8 vouchers for running shoes that are valued at $100 each for a total of $800. And then district-wide donations, Trinity Lutheran Church donated $1,310.94 to the Angel Fund, and Classics by the Lake donated $500 to the Angel Fund. So we are certainly very, very thankful to all our communities, all our supports that we have that help us meet the needs that come through our doors each and every day.
And I know that Angel Fund, I think, didn't Dr. Crony put that in place?
I believe so.
And it's nice to see that it actually gets so much donated toward it.
It is
Hopefully it helps those families.
I know it's a huge support to a lot of our families who go through a lot of tough times that we don't necessarily always see out there in the community. So thank you to everybody on that.
All right. Item F, the WASB Correspondence Legislative Report, view the enhancement for details, but I believe Ms. Burnett is going to share with us.
Yes. The state capitol has been seeing activity picking up lately, including on a number of bills that will have an impact on K-12 education and school board operations. The Assembly was in session October 7th and another session scheduled for Tuesday, October 14th. The Senate so far has not been in session since the budget passed in early July, but is expected to return to session also on October 14th. Dual enrollment bill designed to alter regulations and promote access is now circulating for approval. In essence, the bill sets out to establish a new council on dual enrollment. So this is for high school college credit through the Department of Workforce Development. Fun fact, the WASB would be required to appoint a member to the council under the bill, which alters the way credits are transferred between institutions, changes deadlines to enroll in these programs, and requires new notifications that school boards must deliver to families. Essentially, it sounds like they are trying to expand the capability of dual enrollment, so those kind of start college now credit expansion. Federal government shutdown and the impact on Wisconsin schools from DPI. Updating us on potential impact the federal government shutdown could have on programs and operations. At this point, there are 4 key points for us to know. The Wisconsin Department of Public Institution will maintain operations during any federal government shutdown. Most federal education funds granted to local education agencies, other than impact aid and school meals, were provided in July, August, and LEAs are currently drawing down those funds. The DPI will continue to pay LEAs claims reimbursement for most federal grants submitted during the shutdown. The DPI will reach out to LEAs that will be affected by impact aid. And then number 4, the DPI will be able to pay September claims on school meals and will await further information for the United States Department of Agriculture for the future. Hopefully they get their stuff together soon.
We run a month behind on the food service claims, thankfully, so we'll feel better about that. But right now, we don't feel an impact here in Maple, but if it were to continue, there's a possibility. Leave it at that.
Thank you for that report. Item G, the CISA 12 report. Mr. Probst.
The CISA 12 Board of Control met on September 16th, 2025. Administrator updates. Nick Madison advised that he's been dealing with legislative things happening lately. Things coming from the state level, he says, are not likely to come to any action in many cases. So don't get excited was the short version. CISA leadership and consultants participated in CISA University last week in Wausau. All 12 CISAs were represented and participated in training on professional learning standards and providing good customer service. Melissa F. provided an update on several literacy topics for our schools since September is Literacy Month.
Just so you know, it's not Fetchel Cotter.
It is not Fetchel Cotter. Yeah, Fetchel whatever. Wisconsin is almost a full year into implementation of the early literacy screener and other Act 20 requirements. Districts are getting valuable information about how their students build literacy skills and how to strengthen some of these skills were needed. Changes, the updates to the screener that have happened over this first year have been well received. Other related initiatives, keys to beginning writing and keys to beginning content writing were discussed. CISA is providing a variety of learning opportunities for teachers across the spectrum of experience and licensure. Other items, the project to replace the flat part of the CISA building roof is in progress and on target to be completed before winter this year. This would be covered in the CISA building budget. The board approved additional project to remove wallpaper throughout the CISA 12 building, repair walls and paint walls, and newly installed doors. This is covered by the CISA building budget as well. Thank you.
Was that part of this might be a question for you, when they bought that building, didn't they have like a 3 to 5 year plan to update that building? Is all that part of that?
They're still on, there was some stuff in between that came up.
Yeah, they just came out with we just approved a new building plan in the last 2 months ago. I hadn't heard about the one when it was done when Maya was there, but they do have a list of they've updated the plan at least.
All right, item H, student, staff, and community recognition. Is that you gonna do that, Mr. Petrov?
Yes. I want to get down. Sorry, it's that part of the page. So this is important. The following teachers we just want to recognize for partnering with students from UMD and UWS. Essentially, they host and supervise onboarding teachers, almost like a practicum experience. So this isn't student teaching, but this is something that the programs are pushing out. Ms. Craig, Mr. Larrabee, I'm trying to lean on you guys as to, I don't know, it's a short window of time, correct?
Yes. So throughout their course of their journey in college in becoming a teacher, there's different stages. And so some of them include they have to come out and simply do observations, X amount of hours, might be 30, might be 60. Then they move to kind of more of a hands-on, and then they're moving to more of a practicum, internship, student teaching. So there's a scaffolded approach. And I know that the local universities have really reached out to us and said, first and foremost, they have just an incredible amount of teachers from all over the state that are going to school at these universities who want to teach or want to learn from the best of the best in Maple. So I think that's a compliment. And it gets harder and harder for teachers to take on these students because it is a lot of additional work. And so we know there's a shortage, I continue to say, of 300,000 teachers in the United States and 3,000 in Wisconsin. So when a teacher in Maple says, sure, I'll do this, I'll help another student enjoy the passion of education and teach them here in Maple, I think it's pretty awesome. So as administrators, we want to take a moment and salute those efforts and thank them for all that extra work and putting highly qualified teachers in classrooms around the country.
So we talked about this morning, and it's our small way to try to attract new staff. So teachers that have been involved with this to this point: Morgan Paulson, Brittany Woodward, Craig Anderson, Lexi Bolger, Dane Evanson, Bonnie Maliska, Allison Meldy, Jeff Olson, Katie Thompson, Charlie Hessel, Felicia Hall Norby, and Rebecca Rotundo. So a thank you goes out to all of those folks to try to help our next generation as they walk down.
Mr. Fetchner, if I can add, that's also our current list. We have Mrs. Walsh, who's here today representing. She signed up today for one in the spring. So we have a very good representation at both of the buildings at Fitzgerald High School. It's great to have so many leaders that want those young teachers with us.
Thank you to them, and thank you to our admin team who have helped work this as well too. So it's a fairly new program, but something we feel like is important.
And it directly supports and correlates with one of our board goals, as Mr. Fetchcotter said, which is to retain our current teachers and also attract new ones. So we can get them in the door and they do instantly fall in love with people. So that's what's important for our students.
Cool beans. All right. Item H, reports from Northwestern Elementary and Iron River Elementary Schools, the Northwestern Middle School, Northwestern High School, Athletics and Activities Director, Director of Special Education. I would expect you all went through that and read everything and retained all of it.
Maybe a quiz later.
Quiz later.
I do have a question if I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, come back here so I can see it. I'm looking at this right here. I appreciated the breakdown. You went through the board goals and then you put actual items against that for your school. That's great. Loved it. The one thing that caught my attention, I wanted to ask you to comment on is it's in the mental health category, and the action was to provide students with a dedicated adult mentor. Can you just share a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, it's been something we've been dialoguing about, and just, when students are sharing kind of their needs, recognizing whether or not we have someone in the building that can maybe lean into that need, and then reaching out to those staff members and seeing if they'd be willing to help and support in that manner. So something we're working on, and it's in those phases, but it's trying to, call to action.
Is your pool of adults that you're pulling from, is it just within like employees of the district, or are you looking at communities, or what do you?
Well, I'm open to any options, so whatever we can do best for our students. But currently, looking at the inside our building right now, and then reaching out to those folks. So if anyone serving in any capacity, but again, I'd like to, of course, expand our outreach.
Yeah, I think that's really good idea.
Thank you. And that's not my idea. That's the ideas of our staff members and bringing that to fruition. So I think, especially Mrs. Kaufman and Mrs. Kowalik and our teachers who answered that call, all of our staff who answered that call.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. And now our student reps. What do you have for us today?
Come on now.
I thought I'd start by introducing myself because I was at the last meeting, but I'm Lauren Rita and I'm the other student rep. And tonight I'll be talking to all of you about how our sports are doing in the school. So I want to start with the football season. So the Northwestern Tigers are currently undefeated, and this last Friday they took on the Ashland Ordockers for our homecoming game. This game was pink out, so the football team wore pink socks to raise awareness for breast cancer. The score of the game was 49-0. Some individuals, last weekend, Tyson Teal achieved 1,000 rushing yards after the game in Bloomer. Ethan Harms, one of the senior captains, tied the school record for 4 touchdowns in one game. This record has been previously held for 52 years by Roger Smith. And over the weekend, Ethan Harms also committed to Dordt University to continue his education and football journey. Moving on to volleyball. We're currently 19-8, including non-conference games, and we are projected to win this week's games, putting us at the 2nd seed in the region. And if we win these 2 games, we would tie the record for 20 wins, which currently only 6 teams have done in the school. Shelby Hessel is leading the Tigers in kills and digs. She currently has 275 kills and 337 digs on the season. Following her with digs is Jenna Kreuzer with 305 digs. And then Addie Harms and Savannah Moore both have 137 kills. The Tiger captain said that we have a strong team, and we all get along very well. It helps form a good team dynamic. Last weekend, we traveled to a tournament in Bloomer where the competition was tough, but we came out with a winning record of 3-2. And tomorrow night, we will host a senior night and a dig pink night. And we will have a miracle minute during the game to raise money for breast cancer research. And for every fan wearing pink, our program will donate $1 to breast cancer research. And then the cross country team, the boys team is shaping up nicely with 4 guys neck and neck leading the team. Lex Guderian, Hunter Fredrickson, Liam Gort, and Maverick Alholm. The girls team has been led by Sophie Navarro and Claire Germano, and the girls are looking at coming out 3rd or 4th tomorrow in their conference meet, while the boys are estimated to come out on top. They have a very young team, but very strong, and both teams are looking at performing well in the conference meet as well as regionals. And then the girls golf team just finished their season. They advanced from regionals to sectionals, and Reagan led the team all season along with Grace Schmidt. And at sectionals, they both golfed in 97. And then as for cheerleading, the cheerleaders put on an amazing halftime show during the homecoming game, as well as traveling to school, to the schools, so like the middle school, to celebrate homecoming week. And they also did this performance there. They also continue to support the football team throughout their season of wins. The team captains, Isabel Staria and Jillian Aline, said they have a close-knit team that grows together by team bonding, whether it be learning new routines or making banners. And now I'm going to pass it on to Evan to talk about clubs.
So just some activities that have been going on within like the last month and a half. So I think it was September 16th, the seniors were sent on a field trip to UWS for a college fair, where we were able to like walk around, talk to vendors, get information and pamphlets on how to like apply for these colleges. Next, for like DECA, we're actively fundraising with candy boxes with to pair with like the Halloween holiday season, while also preparing for our ELC conference, which we talked about a bit earlier. FBLA, which was also here, has had a couple meetings discussing their competition, along with FFA, which also kind of gave the rundown on that, which they have also like been in charge of our concessions, which they've done it for all of our football games, the Powder Puff game we held on Friday for our homecoming, and one volleyball game. Our FCCLA program is currently selling socks to raise money, and for every 2 packs they sell, they donate 1 pair to our Douglas County Center Against Sexual and Domestic Abuse, and the surrounding area. And this year marks the 20 years of the FCCLA's Thanksgiving basket drive, so they're going like big with their preparations. And along with that, they're also getting prepared for their competition season. Our drama, one act competition is approaching in these coming weeks. They're performing their small actors play at the high school on October 23rd. And if they advance from there, they're competing in Eau Claire on November 5th. And they're still set to put on their shows on the one act on November 18th. So this past weekend, some National Honor Society members went to Ashland for the Whistle Stop race. It consisted of 5K, 10K half marathon, and full marathon. They sat and gave out water to the runners, and sorry, I can't know. For about 45 hours till it concluded. And then last week, our student council hosted our dress-up days for homecoming, and we continue with our traditions of court games, Macho Man, and Powder Puff, and then obviously tailgating, which if any of you were there, it was fantastic, a lot better than the previous years. We had food trucks, we had face painting, the car show, the truck show, and it was a lot of fun. And then continuing off that, our band has been very busy this year. They were doing pep band for football games, and they've been prepping for the Apple Fest performance. So for the last month, they've been practicing and memorizing their marching routine in the gym and the parking lot. And from what I've heard from the gym and parking lot, they sounded great. And they also played at halftime. They went out and performed in front of the crowd, and they did a great job. Our Amnesty group has met a couple of times, and they made a poster for National Banned Books Week. And they'll also be sending 8 people on a field trip to UWS for our Changemakers Convention, where young people discuss important world and local issues. And then tomorrow, our mental health club our mental health club will be hosting its first meeting, and everyone welcome to go and just have a safe space to talk. And that's really all I got for you.
Any questions for us?
Didn't the students dress up on Friday night as well at the football game? I see you at every game dressed to the nines.
Some of us wore pink wigs.
I really like football.
We could Tell.
Buddy.
I can't remember, did you mention, maybe I missed it, the thing that was held in the evening for the vaping?
Oh, no, I did not, but all I knew, that BACT has been putting up like a stand in our commons area during our lunch periods where they can have like students sign like pledges against vaping. I wasn't quite aware of the evening convention for that.
Yeah, so the fact group organized an event right here in the auditorium, and they had some, Mr. Smith was there.
There's the Dane County Drug Prevention Coalition.
Yeah.
That has gotten a grant. They're doing a variety of things. This is one of the things that they reached out and brainstormed with us on an anti-vaping kind of Q&A
Yeah.
presentation. We also got a speaker coming in on August 21st, paid for by them. This is a national speaker that's coming to Solon and Superior the same day with the harms of THC,
Mm-hmm.
the harmful effects of THC, especially on young people. That's so this is a national speaker. I don't know if they paid for it, but I think it's gonna be pretty good. That's
When is that?
Week from Tuesday. Week from right first thing in the morning. They're coming here first. They're going to Solon, then going to Superior. So 8:15 next week from tomorrow.
I thought the information they provided was very informative, and I wish it would have been better attended, but I thought it was a really good.
We tried to do the
idea.
same nice parent-teacher conferences so we could get some people there and get some more people at our conferences.
Yeah.
We're trying to blend them together.
And I think what's important, the takeaway for me anyhow, is the willingness for this organization, and even the guy from Eau Claire, he was he's in law enforcement, okay? And his focus is on drug prevention and things. And he really wants to just collaborate, so I thought that was really good for us to pay attention to.
Nice to hear there's something different. I know they at conferences in the past they've done like bedroom, drug room, whatever you want to call it.
Similar.
Hiding in plain sight or something.
Yeah, something like that.
The gentleman was from the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. He's a special agent for the Office of Criminal Investigation. What they're trying to do is they're trying to keep an eye on the retailers that are selling these items. That's what his job is.
Yeah, I thought it was.
So
Yeah, he's less interested in catching the kids that are using, but more the people that sell.
Yeah, it's true.
we kids from the vaping, it's like, where'd you get it from? Well, they didn't tell us, but
Yeah.
they're not walking in the store at 14 or 15 now, getting somebody else, but maybe not, maybe they are ones.
Maybe they are.
And getting it, I don't know, that's their job, that's his job.
It's always the money, Isn't that how they got Capone?
Follow the money.
Follow the money. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic job on your reports. Item 7, comments from the audience. Now that we have concluded the business of the board, we will end the live stream.